Oh boy, I'm excited. I'm very excited to see what his TVZ looks like, because his TVT, look pretty damn good. Oh,
yeah, that hyper aggressive style. You love to see it, but no, I guess hyper aggression still works pretty well in TVZ.
Yeah, it definitely can. We can see some more aggressive pushes. We can see Marauder Hellbats pushes. We can see 8 Raxes as well on 3 bases. But we are getting into our 3rd series of the night.
Indeed, we are. And here on Babylon, we are going to begin in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in that bottom right-hand corner. We have a red Terran player coming out from the land of China. Representing Mystery Gaming, we have KingSlayeR. Jaime Lannister.
Oh, and spawning. It's another Jaime, Papi. Let's go. We got Jim, we got Jaime, we got KingSlayeR, mate. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. The man who has survived the cheese of Japan, the teamless Taiwanese Zerg player. But with the support of all those waifus, it is Yoger.
Yeah, you know, as Han Mono was saying, Vice Ravana did have the power of Japan, but Yoger has the power of the Uwu.
Are you saying the power of the Uwu is greater than the power of Japan?
Well,
I mean, Uwu
based on the results today,
it does transcend Japan. Uwu is a global phenomenon. The weebs are everywhere, Pop.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep me up at night when I'm trying to sleep.
Oh god, those goddamn Uwu birds, mate. Shaking my head. But yeah, I'm really excited to see this all come together here. KingSlayeR, again, I'm looking to be impressed. Looking damn good against the Terrans, but Yoger is another beast entirely. One of the best Zergs in Taiwan.
Yeah, second only to Rex. Rex, who has arguably transcended Taiwan. Practice a lot in South Korea. He was on Onsite for the longest time. He was on Jin Air Green Wings for a while as well.
Yeah, he's a player with a lot of potential. He's a player that was able to kind of fulfill that potential in a way and really just go onto that international scene, performing so well against some of the best players in the world. But now Yoger is here, you know, his second is looking to try and prove himself in this regional. So far, pretty standard openers, but the first Reaper is across the map, and we do see that dance we love to see here in the early game.
Oh, very quick transformation into a Spore Crawler. Will keep that drone alive right at the very end. Neither player has actually lost anything just yet. Yeah, none player has lost any of their units just yet.
Yeah, not quite. Also, when you said transformation, I don't know why, maybe the waifu was on the mind, but my brain went to like a Sailor Moon transformation.
I think that's what it was for me as well, because I was gonna say morph, but in my brain I was like, no, you gotta say transform.
Well, that's different. If you say transform, then I think of like Autobots, you know? I think of
Roll out.
And now I'm just thinking of an anime waifu transforming into a car.
I was gonna say, wasn't there an anime that was basically like Cars, but in anime girl form?
There has to be. I mean, I know
so, like the name was like Ford Taurus.
Oh
but
my!
It was an anime girl.
I know that there's
Toyota.
There's the tank.
Whatever.
There's the tank visual novel where there's tank girls. I know that. I know that exists.
That might have been what I was thinking of. Yeah.
But if there's like an anime where like Ferrari and Toyota and all these things are like anime girls, I would watch that. That sounds amazing.
It's like, I just transferred. I'm a transfer student from Japan. What's your name? A Mitsubishi Lancer.
Let's go. And they race, but because it's an anime, their racing is like it's just them running around. Like they don't transform into cars.
But they say zoom, vroom, vroom. Yeah. They say vroom vroom.
Demi's in it as well? Let's go. Oh my god. That's
and then they have a crossover. They have a crossover with Fast and Furious where they're like family.
Oh, there you go, mate. Maybe that's $1 million idea. Just saying, all right. The next anime, it's gonna be a girl car anime. It's gonna be beautiful.
Oh, I can see it so clearly.
And speaking of seeing things clearly, so far, pretty standard openers, all things around. We did see a 3cc before Starport build from KingSlayeR, so very economic, not very aggressive whatsoever. He's just poking and prodding with these Hellions, looking for an opening. Oh, we do see him headed towards... Oh my god! Oh, and Yoger dancing with death there, almost does pull into the Hellions.
Yeah, but thankfully will pull away just at the nick of time. He only loses 3 drones, and none of his creep tumors. It's an interesting prioritization from KingSlayeR to be going for economic damage as opposed to map control.
Yeah, interesting choice, as you were saying. You know, maybe just didn't have enough NG for that scan. Regardless, he's getting into his pretty standard setup, 5 Raxes in a total here. But Yoger is doing something a little bit different. He delayed his double Evo chambers. He got a faster lair. He's taking all of his gases, and he's going into mutas.
Yeah, love to see it. It's just one of those little quirks that you really only get from Oceania, Southeast Asia, and Taiwan, Hong Kong, is the sheer prevalence of Mutalists, even in this matchup.
Yeah, we may not be watching Demi right now, but he is watching over Yoger as we speak. He's giving him his power, his influence here as a fellow Zurich player of the region. And you don't get to see Muta rushes too often. I say Muta rush, it's not like 2-base Muta or anything like that, but there was a prioritization of that Spire, and that's not too common anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he even got it before getting Baneling speed, before getting 1-1, which, like you said, is just a lot more common these days. You know, a lot of Zerg players do prefer to just have a very solid ground army. They want to have those Lings and those Banelings to defend against aggression from the Terran player as they drone up. Not Yoger, though. He wants to be active on the map with Mutalists.
Yeah, Yoger is droning up to 66, and he's stopping at 66 drones for the time being. He's making nothing but Mutas as well as Ling Bane. We'll see if he does decide to saturate this 4th base. There we go, 9 drones are on the way, but before that happened, of course, he was just making sure he had enough of a ground army to hold on. He only has enough gas for 1 Baneling. It's just a bit of an odd sight to see here. Don't look, he's anxious. As the rest of the gas is spent on Mutas.
Like, why can't I be like a Ling?
And this is dangerous. There we go. The rest of the Banelings are here towards the northern side as well. The Mutas are going for a counterattack. No, they turn around.
Very unfortunate timing here for Yoger, as KingSlayeR does sneak on in. A lot of these Mutalists aren't quite done yet. Tanks are a little bit exposed, but the Marines are here to save the day. The Hellions did transform to Hellbats as well. I can't believe it, like, but Yoger just lost his entire ground army.
Yeah.
Taking out practically nothing. He killed 1 tank, and that was it.
Okay, I may have been praising him for going into Mutas, but this is also why Mutas are a really risky thing to do, because we saw the Mutas weren't really able to do anything there in that fight. They couldn't engage with the tanks. There were just too many Marines. The Banelings were coming in for an awkward angle, and this push from KingSlayeR is just looking to be too much behind this. It is an 8 rack setup. He didn't take any gases at his 3rd base. Very committed 3-base push here, and Yoger caught with his pants down.
And he will continue to have his pants down for the rest of this game by the looks of things. Very good pre-split coming out from KingSlayeR. GG is called, and KingSlayeR will be taking game number 1.
There you go. You were talking about the TVZ matchup and about whether or not there would be any kind of aggressive styles from the Terran, and we did see that here in game number 1. The 8 racks can be a terrifying thing, especially if unscouted. You do need to prioritize Ling Bane production there to be able to hold on, and Mutas are more of a harassing unit, especially in low numbers. They can't really engage head-on with the Terran army.
Yeah. Definitely seems like something that Yoger normally does in ZvT is to go for those Mutalists, but does like to go for Mutalisk in ZvT, but like you said, maybe just isn't as familiar with KingSlayeR, doesn't realize how aggressive KingSlayeR likes to play. That 3 base 8 racks push is extremely potent, but can be countered quite effectively by just prioritizing a lot of Lings and a lot of Banes. That was what we got from Yoger, though.
Yeah, exactly. That is not what we got from our Zerg player. He was punished for it, and now he's down in this series, but he's not out. Not yet, as we're getting ready for game number 2. Oh my... I'm getting linked waifu transformers. There we go.
Yeah.
I was like, hold up.
Did we just play on this map?
Yeah.
I had to check the stream to make sure that I'm not crazy.
Yeah,
that's actually a terrible idea.
I had to check as well, but we're just gonna be remaking the lobby here, getting ready for our second game. I was just being linked some waifu transformers content and
like official licensed transformers or just fan art.
It's not fan art. It's like a crossover.
Well then.
Yeah.
Between?
I think it's canon in the Transformers universe. What?
There we go.
Oh boy. All right. Well, I know what I won't be watching later tonight.
I know what's going to be haunting my dreams later tonight.
Aye. Alright, we are going to be getting into game number 2, and now we do have the correct lobby. It is going to be on Royal Blood.
Yeah, pretty similar to Babylon in the sense that it has a fancy name. Not very similar when it comes to the layout, though.
Not similar at all. Meanwhile, as we're getting into this, mate, Demi has an opponent, and it's a Terran player.
Oh! Looks like Expect. Wait, was it Expect or Eternity?
Yeah, Expect.
Expect was able to take out Jim, who for the longest time was seen as the top player from the Chinese region, and will now face Demi in that TVZ. But before that, as that goes underway, we have a TVZ of our own here on Royal Blood. We're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in that top right-hand corner. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Taiwan. He is a top 2 Zerg player in the region, and I would say a top 6 player overall, representing the waifus. Everybody give your best uwus, because it's Yoger.
Only Yoger rhymed with uwu. And we'll find a way. Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponent, the up-and-coming Chinese Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. And currently up 1-0 in this best-of-3 series, it is KingSlayeR.
Looking to trash another waifu.
Exactly, he was able to take down a 1 before, and he's going to be looking to do it again. And I do worry a little bit here for Yoger again. I do appreciate that he was trying to do something a little bit more stylistic, but KingSlayeR is too aggressive for that. I don't think he's going to 8 racks 2 games in a row, though. I don't think that's the wisest of choices. Yoger has now been put on notice.
I half agree with you there, Light. I feel like KingSlayeR, based on what little I've seen so far, would be the type of player to go for an 8 racks 2 games in a row, but I don't think he'll go for an 8 racks on Babylon. It is a lot different from, or rather he wouldn't 8 racks on Royal Blood. I should say it is a map that's very different from Babylon in that it is a lot larger, both length and width wise. It does take a little bit more time to get your units across map, and once you establish a foothold, it's also a bit more difficult to really start parade pushing. So I don't think we're gonna see another 8 racks in. I don't think we're gonna see another 8 racks just yet. But if this goes to the ace match, I wouldn't take it off the table.
True. Do you think it will depend a lot on the map of choice? But we will see if we get that far in this series. For the time being, the Reaper is just dancing here with these links. Going to be trying to pick off a drone here and there, but no, the drones are saved. The Queen comes out, and Yoger is going to be able to defend off this Reaper without too many losses, just losing 1 link.
Yeah, acceptable casualty. The tumor is still alive, so you really want to defend in the early game. The tumor is the VIP from what I understand about ZvT. That is not a starport.
Oh my god!
That also is not a starport. This, you've heard of 3 racks. You've heard of 3 racks before 3rd CC, but have you ever heard of 3 factory before 3rd CC?
This is crazy. So a couple of things are crazy about this. One, we're gonna immediately be revealing this racks, and usually I feel like use the racks for like a tech lab so we can see like an add-on swap here, just to be a little bit more efficient here. But no, instead he's gonna be moving out as an overlord. Speaking of, the overlord of Yoger is gonna be looking to try and get into the main base, but Marines are here to stop him. We'll see if he can get far enough in the main to scout the additional factories.
Yeah, well, 2 Marines just like that is a little bit sus, but I don't think it's really enough to piece together what is going on here for Yoger. He's going to assume that, he's spending minerals, or, yeah, he's going to assume that he's not getting a starport or, normal tech, but I don't think seeing 2 Marines just like that is indicative of 3 factories before a 3rd CC. Let me repeat that just so we're all just so that we all internalize it. This is triple factory with 2 tech labs before a 3rd CC.
You're like, guys, you don't understand. There are 3 factories. It's crazy. And we have Magfield accelerators on the way. The Hellions are pushing out across map. The Rax is about to reveal itself back at home. Yoger is throwing down a defensive mailing nest, which will be fine, but we're going to need a Roach Warren soon thereafter, especially with the revelation of this Rax. Yoger is aware that he's up against mech.
Yeah, but will it be quick enough? Yoger, he is doing the right thing, which is to just pump out as many queens as possible while he is still on, a rather primitive tech stage.
Yeah, but we do have a couple of lock-ons. Magfield is still not done. A lot of these queens are getting quite low here. It looks like they will all be able to transfuse, though, and force a KingSlayeR back for the time being. Meanwhile, at the same time, Yoger is going for a massive link counterattack.
The wall is not a wall! And the Lings are able to slip in, just completely messing up the mineral line here in the natural base. KingSlayeR, unfortunately, his attention was on the front line. A couple of Lings will sneak into the main as well. Will confirm the 3 Raxes, but more importantly, mess up another mineral line.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of SCVs are going to be going down here. 8 SCVs in total, and we don't have a 3rd CC, so this is going to be really crippling the economy of a KingSlayeR. But now he can focus on his frontal assault. Magfields is now done, but Yoger has been able to buy enough time. The Roach Warren has completed, and Roaches are on the way.
Yeah. Now, it's a little bit of a tricky calculation to make here when you are going Roaches against Cyclones. You don't want to get your Roaches locked on and have these Cyclones kite them all the way to the other side of the map, but at the same time, as long as you're able to push forward with your Roaches, the Cyclones shouldn't be able to deal too much damage, let alone the Hellions.
Yeah, but to be fair, these Cyclones, what they just did is they just reset the queen count. They killed every single queen that was once here on the front line. The Roaches are fighting off of creep a little bit there as well. And Yoger may be bleeding out a little bit too much. This Cyclone count is getting insane. We even have a couple of boys being pulled just to repair.
Yeah, because why not? He can't mine back home. He gave up on mining.
Yeah, he
might as well put a Han Mono.
May as well, mate. May as well. The lock-ons are getting insane here once again on more of these Roaches. We do see Yoger trying to force his opponent back, but KingSlayeR just has a lot of momentum right now. He even scans.
Yeah, he scans, he confirms. Wait a minute. I feel like you should have more army. He can't believe in himself, but yeah, he is starting to make a little bit of a foothold here. Baneliness will go down, which isn't the biggest of deals here for Yoger, but he really needs everything he can get at the moment.
He really does. Nice target firing. 1, 2, 3 Cyclones go down. Yoger now with Roach Speed is able to punish KingSlayeR at least a little bit here. He is going to be fighting back, and KingSlayeR has to respect this. Now the army of Yoger is getting quite formidable.
Yeah, the momentum has halted. And that may just about be enough for Yoger to get back in this game. He did lose all of those queens earlier on, but his bases are still up and running. He's at double the base count of KingSlayeR right now, and he is droning up quite a bit still.
He is going to be droning up. That's the important part, is that even though KingSlayeR traded well against the army of Yoger, the economy was untouched, and Yoger was able to keep this third base up and running and fully operational. We have a fourth hatchery as well. KingSlayeR did throw down a third CC in the middle of all that fighting, so he is going to now be able to expand and take advantage of that position, but a lot of his momentum is now gone at this point, and Yoger is looking to stabilize. Oh, the Cyclones!
Yeah, a couple of them do get caught out. One of them will go down. The others will get a couple of free shots on these roaches. Yoger does have to be very careful with his Zerglings. The main damage dealer right now, of course, are the Cyclones, but Hellions are a really good support unit in this scenario.
Yeah, they really are. They do help buffer and protect them against those roaches and the Lings. Speaking of, we do have another Ling run by here. KingSlayeR has been very lax when it comes to protecting his mineral lines, whether it's the natural or the third base. He's just hyper-focused on rallying everything across the map, and he's kind of being punished for it.
Yeah. I guess not exactly used to being the player who has to defend against the constant harassment and aggression.
Yeah, exactly. As we have 2 more factories being thrown out. We've got our armories as well. These upgrades are going to be a little bit delayed, to be honest. Again, I do think that KingSlayeR intended to end the game earlier with his magfield timing. And now that he hasn't, he's on the back foot. But here we go. The Hellions, they dive on in. They get into the middle line. Oh, no!
And these are blue flame Hellions. 8 drones will immediately get evaporated, and the rest of the army will be able to chase away the mech units, though, of KingSlayeR.
Yeah, 8 drones and the Queen as well at the same time. We do have another force here on the left-hand side, but no, there are just not enough Cyclones to really contest against this Roach army. Baneling run by being set up across the map. There is no Baneling speed, so they are going to waddle in. KingSlayeR will have time to react.
If he is aware. Yoger is waiting for the perfect time.
Yoger, that was his cue. That he just realized he doesn't have bathing speed. So bathing speed does commence in the end. All these queens going for a little bit of a walk. Hopefully they do return, because KingSlayer's army is getting stronger and stronger, and he's transitioning out of battle mech into regular mech. The tank production is commencing. And
funnily enough, KingSlayeR actually has a higher army supply than Yoger, despite going mech. Banelings try to sneak their way in, but won't get much done other than killing a Hellion or 2.
Yeah.
Yoger really needs to start getting into position.
Exactly. This infestation bit from Yoger is looking a little bit late here to try and shut down these Cyclones, and KingSlayeR just has too much pushing on forward. He has the tanks to reinforce, and this third base is not long for this world.
He's got to give it up. He's got to give it up. Yoger is already planning on remaking that base on the other side of the map.
Yeah, it's on the way here, but I worry that he's not just going to lose his third base. He may just lose even more than that, as KingSlayer's going to keep on pushing Yoger, going for a bit of a counterattack here in the midst of all this. I do appreciate it, but I still don't think he can deal with that main army.
Yeah, well, he may not need to if his counter harass works out. Ideally, you know, Yoger is hoping that this will draw the army back, but it's not a very big roach force. It doesn't really yeah, it's not really as annoying as Yoger was hoping for. 3 SCVs go down, and he does delay some of the reinforcements from going across the map, but now that that's dealt with, they are making their way across the map.
Yeah, exactly. KingSlayeR, he defends against the counterattack. Yoger struggling to get his economy up and running. He lost a lot of workers as well. He just doesn't have the drone count to really sustain this army. He's going to try, though. He's going to try and force himself in. This time, he does have Ravagers to help bile down some of these tanks. Again, he wasn't really anticipating the need for them because of the battle mech earlier. It was an unexpected tech switch, as Yoger is going for another Roach counterattack.
Might as well, I suppose. Oh, but that's a lot of units back home. Rallied to defend.
Yeah, that's a lot of tanks back home. We do see the 5th base on the way for KingSlayeR, as he was able to expand on the right-hand side earlier. The Roaches have been revealed, but the tanks siege.
The tanks do siege on the high ground. A couple of them do get taken out, but there's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, exactly. The base is being taken. Meanwhile, Yoger is still struggling to deal with this. I do think he can take a fight if he's able to catch this army unsieged or undefended. Like, KingSlayer's main force here has been getting smaller and smaller. He only has 3 Cyclones remaining. He needs to somehow reinforce, and to be fair, he's sending a couple of tanks across the map.
Yeah, if Yoger can get a real good surround on top of this army, then I think it will pretty much shut down this aggression from KingSlayeR. He's trying to go for it. He's trying to go for it. The Hellbats do get into position, but there aren't that many Lings. Roaches do zoom on forward, and finally, this foothold that KingSlayeR established will be destroyed.
Yeah, KingSlayeR
is looking to retake that base.
Yeah, KingSlayeR, he either had to reinforce and keep pushing or pull back home. He did neither, and as a result, KingSlayeR loses half of his army. Yoger is still in this.
Yeah. He may not have the best economy, but he has a good enough economy to sustain this army. He is slowly but surely catching back up and looking to max out. Swarm hosts are now on the way, and I love this choice from Yoger.
Exactly. Free units are a great way to take advantage of a low econ situation. Roaches go for a bit of a run by, a little bit wasteful with those bathings. Roaches are going to be forced back, but the rest of the army is making its way here on the left-hand side of the map. And these swarm hosts, as we were kind of pointing out, is a great way to come back after a bit of a deficit. They are a bit of a comeback mechanic here for Zerg if they're able to get value with their first couple of Locust waves.
Yeah, these Hellbats, Blue Flame Hellbats, are definitely gonna complicate things a little bit for Yoger, but best case scenario, he's able to get some friendly fire out from the tanks.
Yeah, but we need that Locust Wave. We can't be holding on for it too long. We need to send it out and wait for that cooldown for the next one. Here we go. The Locust Wave is coming on in, and he's going to be able to get some tanks.
Oh. Yeah, a little bit of maybe a premature landing earlier on, but it does force a lot of these tanks to unsiege, and Yoger's taking full advantage of that. He dives forward, he takes out whatever he can, and all in all, pretty good trade for Yoger.
He just dismantled the army of KingSlayeR. He lost 40 supply in the blink of an eye, and...
Wait, really?
Yeah, and now he's kind of on the back foot here. Yoger doesn't have a great economy, but he has a massive army, and now he's going to be going for another Locust Wave, and what can KingSlayeR really do? He's just got mass tank.
He can siege.
He can siege, pup. He can siege. Roach army getting ready for maybe a counterattack. There we go. The Locust Wave is getting sent into that tank line.
And this is too many tanks, I would say, for KingSlayeR. I didn't think it possible, but he definitely overmade tanks. The Locusts are even coming in, acting as a bit of a surround, and just like that, KingSlayeR loses his entire main army. That was like 60 supply in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. Yeah, he was about to, like, he was almost close to maxing out as well, and KingSlayeR, these pushes just are not efficient whatsoever. He just doesn't have the correct army composition to deal with these swarm hosts, with these Locust Waves. Thors can come into play and shoot down the Locust Waves from afar, or even just a higher Hellbat count to try and buffer and to try and soak up a lot of that damage. Alas, just pure tank is looking a little bit too vulnerable, and any kind of momentum that KingSlayeR once had is now gone.
Yeah. Now Yoger's the player with momentum. He is just making use of his highly mobile army. His maxed out army at that, pushing across the map, preventing KingSlayeR from taking any more expansions. Slowly but surely looking to starve him out.
Oh, we have another Locust Wave on the left-hand side. The Planetary goes down in mere seconds. At the same time, the main force is going toe-to-toe with Hellbats and Cyclones. And I say Cyclones, but there's only one here. KingSlayeR, he's just falling apart at the seams.
Like so. That is the issue with mech, isn't it? It's not a very mobile army, and especially if you're in a low economy and a low supply scenario, you're never going to be able to defend every attack point sufficiently.
Yeah, and I don't think that KingSlayer's been in this position too often because he's transitioning into Ghost mech. Ghost Thor is definitely a thing that we can work with, but Ghosts against they're ideal against Broodlords, against Spellcasters, against Ultras, against Lingbane Roach Ravager, not so much. Against Swarm Host, not so much either.
Yeah, there's one scenario where if you have a lot of ghosts and you're able to catch the Swarm Hosts while they are isolated from the rest of the army, you can snipe them pretty easily.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really happen though. You know, most Zerg players don't allow themselves to be put in such a position.
Yeah, and then situations like this happen as well. The ghosts are quite vulnerable. A lot of the buffer does go down. 43 SCVs have fallen over the course of the past couple of moments, and we have another Locust Wave being set up.
This is such a... I feel for this army, man. This is all KingSlayeR really has, but it is about to be swarmed by locusts and roaches and all sorts of other units that are named after insects.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. The Thors get completely shut down. Only one ghost survives to tell the tale. And the boys are being pulled as well. There's just nothing here to help defend. Only the planetary. And it just stands alone.
The boys are being pulled and the boys are gonna die. As will this planetary fortress. Surprisingly, staying alive. Like the Bee Gees.
You know, it's holding its own. It's holding its own against the wave of Zerg, but at the cost of all of those SCVs, GG gets called, and Yoger fights back, taking game number 2.
We're getting ourselves an ace match, and as I would like to remind everybody, this game started with a 3 factory before 3rd CC. I almost said 3 racks because 3 factory never happens. How often do you say that? How often do you say 3 fact before 3rd CC? But yeah, that's what KingSlayeR whipped out. I really appreciate it. It was something different, and it almost worked.
Mm-hmm.
He got so close to breaking Yoger before Yoger was able to really get a solid number of roaches, but Yoger, all he had to do was defend. He could afford a couple of losses, but he just had to defend, make units, and after that happened, he found himself on equal footing once again. There was that stage later on where KingSlayeR did transition to getting a lot of tanks, but you could tell it's not something that he really practiced as much as the opening. It's not a scenario he's as experienced with. I have a feeling that usually when KingSlayeR does this build, his Zerg opponents die before it gets to that point.
And I think it's very important to point out how KingSlayeR was utilizing his army with the initial push, which did do a lot of damage if you recall. He killed all the queens, he was forcing his way through the roaches as well, and he was trying to make his way and break the natural, if you recall. There was a moment when he was like focusing a lot on like the Bailey Nest, for example, right? That's when he had kind of broken the army, was trying to break through. To end the game, to straight up kill his opponents when he could have otherwise gone for some more secure damage and maybe gone for the 4th base or the 3rd base, right? Dealt damage to the economy of his opponent, and he opted not to. As a result, Yoger was able to survive, was able to eventually persevere and fight back. It wasn't easy. Yoger, he was at death's door for quite some time. He was limping along, losing base after base, losing drones, some drones as well. But going for those Swarm Host was the correct move there, and it was able to bring him back. Put him back.
Yeah. It really did. When you mentioned Yoger's at death's door, I just have an image in my head of Yoger sending a selfie of a Swarm Host out and saying, "I lived."
He did. He lived, Papi. He lived, and oh boy, yeah, there we go. Congratulations to Yoger for tying up the series and for forcing the ace match. Players just taking a little bit of time here to just recalibrate and refocus their efforts coming into the ace match. But yeah, we'll see how this all kind of comes to fruition here. Oh my god. I love as well, I saw Honwano in the chat. He's now on mech now. Smudge, Poppy, Smudge.
I mean, that was it's fitting then for the last game.
True.
As KingSlayeR did go for mech, but yeah, it looks like our players have recalibrated enough. They have remembered, or have figured out what the ace map is going to be. Dragon Scales is what what will decide which of these players advances to a qualifying match to face either Expect or Demi.
Oh boy, exactly. In that qualifying match, we'll see who it is going to be as we're loading on in. And yeah, it's going to be really hard to call. I've been really impressed with the versatility here of the Terran player. We've seen two varying different styles so far. What's going to happen in Game 3?
Well, we're about to find out as we load in to Dragon Scales. We're in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. We have our red Terran player coming out from the land of China. He is going to be representing Mystery Gaming. We have the waifu trasher, KingSlayeR.
The waifu killer? Is that what he is?
Maybe, you know, if you can take out Yoger here.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have his opponent. We have the Taiwanese Zerga player representing the waifus all across the world. It is Yoger.
He's harnessing the power of the uwu.
The uwu fuels him, it powers him, it allows him to make swarm hosts. And yeah, I really do feel like the onus here is going to be on KingSlayeR. Game 1, he went for an 8 racks. Game 2, he went for 3 factory Magfield accelerator timing. The hell is he going to do in Game 3, mate? What do you want to see? What do you want to see, Yaku?
I would like to see... Okay, I have what I like to see, and I have what I need to see. What I like to see is... I'd have to think a little bit more about what I'd like to see, but what I need to see is another 8 racks, just to vindicate my prediction from earlier. But what I would like to see, well, you know, you know what, actually? BCs.
I was gonna say the same thing.
BCs is what I'd like to see.
The entire time,
BCs is what I want to see.
I don't want to see it. I don't like to see it, but I feel like BCs are the next logical choice here for KingSlayeR. A BC opener is what I am afraid of. I hope he doesn't do it. I'm scared, Papi. I'm scared. Don't smudge Yoger. Not like this, Papi. Not like this.
The U is strong, but it's not that strong.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. As we are going to be getting into our openers, first Reapers across the map. Once again, just dancing with the links, dancing with the drones, looking to try and get a kill. But the link positioning is just a little bit too good. The Queen is going to be coming out. Once again, one link gets picked off, but only one link.
That's been a consistent pattern throughout the series.
Yeah. You know, they have this dance well rehearsed. Well rehearsed.
Yeah. Very well choreographed, you know.
Oh,
they animated it really good.
They did, and we have the beginnings of a BC, Bobby. We have a straight-up 1-1-1 opener from KingSlayeR. It is not going to be the economic variation. We don't have a third CC, and if we get a tech lab here, we could be seeing a bit of an add-on switch. But if we do get an add-on switch, it is more likely to be Banshees, not BCs.
Well, that is the likely choice, and we are going to be seeing that add-on switch. We have to be seeing that add-on switch. Why else would you put the barracks over there, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was hinting at. Very, very early stim. I gotta say, I'm honestly not too surprised coming up from KingSlayeR. We do know him to be a very aggressive player. Not just aggressive in the sense that, you know, he's going to send all of his units across the map, but aggressive in the sense that when he sends his units across the map, he wants to make sure that he can establish a foothold. He wants to make sure that he's in a good enough position to rally more units to start parade pushing across the map as well.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but with this stim timing, I do worry that this may end up leading towards like a bio Hellbat push. You know, we are going to be having a lot of these Hellions to work with for that map control. If they're able to survive for that follow-up bio push, then this could hit quite hard. But never mind, you do have a pretty standard 3 racks follow-up as well. So yeah, just kind of a more safer 1-1-1 here. We're not kind of over-investing in harassing units. We're not over-investing in things like Banshees.
And here's something important to note, Light. KingSlayeR hasn't gone for a 3rd CC.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, mate. No 3rd CC yet. Oh, he's throwing down 2. He's going for 2 base all in. Yep.
Yep, not quite an ace, not quite an 8 racks, but still a highly aggressive Bio-Terran style. Yoger was not able to scout this. His initial Overlord, I believe, only scouted the 1-1-1. Maybe it saw the tech lab researching, so I think Yoger is aware of a stim push coming his way, but I don't think he is aware of the full extent of the push that KingSlayeR is setting up.
Yeah, I mean, the faster stim is very sus. It is very sus for Yoger, and he can be piecing together that something is amiss. But for the time being, this is a pretty standard follow-up. You know, he's getting his 4th base, he's getting 1-1. Oh, he's going into a Hydra Den as well. This is a bit of a trap. We need Lingbane. We can't be wasting any of our gas on Hydras here. Yoger doesn't know that something is wrong, that there is a big all-in coming his way.
Yeah, I definitely like Hydras more than Mutas. If the game goes on long enough, I think they're just a really good way of shutting down drops and also just a really good backbone unit in the overall army of Yoger later down the line. But like you said, you don't want to waste your gas on Hydras at the moment. He just needs sheer quantity of Lings and of Banes. He's making 1.
Yeah.
He's making 2.
Yeah.
And he's getting muscular augments. But
Yeah.
I mean, he's not neglecting the Lingbane.
You're not wrong, but he hasn't started. He's been neglecting Baneling speed. There is no Baneling speed here in favor of the Hydras. KingSlayeR is rushing across the map with everything he has. This is going to be hitting with Stim at +1 and combat shields. And it's going to be so difficult for Yoger to find those connections with slow Banelings. He just now starts Baneling speed.
Oh no, the Lings are pushing on in. The Banelings are waddling for it, trying to get good connections and able to take out a couple of tanks, but they just do not connect with the units they need to connect to, which is those Marines. The Marines are still standing strong, and there's nothing that can stop them.
Yeah, the tanks are slowly leapfrogging forward as well. We have more Banelings finishing up, but again, they still do not have Baneling speed. We do see the Lingbane coming in from multiple angles, though. We're going to get some connections here, but on the tanks, not the Marines.
That's a complete waste of Banelings, honestly. The Marines still very much alive, very much in play. And I want to be optimistic for Yoger here. I want to say that, you know, Baneling speed is about to finish up. He hasn't lost too many drones yet. He can still defend and bring us to a longer game, but KingSlayeR has just so much momentum with this army.
He really does. More Banelings are being morphed in. We did see a bit of a Link counterattack, but it was cleaned up in the end. The 3rd hatchery is going to be going down. More Marines are rallying on in to reinforce. Baneling speed is about to finish, but do we even have enough Banelings?
Well, we'll see. A couple more Lings are on the way. Interestingly enough, Yoger is producing Hydras, so I want to believe he knows what he's doing with them. A couple of Banelings do crash into Marines, but nowhere near enough of them. The tanks got reset, but so have the Banelings, and there is nothing stopping KingSlayeR this point forward. GG is called, and KingSlayeR is now the waifu killer. He will advance to a qualifying match against either Expect or Demi. And it's crazy to think about here, Light, but it's gonna be living in my head rent-free and potentially in Yoger's head as well. All Yoger needed was Baneling speed. Just calm down with the Hydras and get Baneling speed first. it almost felt like he was skipping steps here
Mhm.
to get to set up a strong Hydralisk push
Mhm.
with those muscular augments for whatever reason. But yeah, he kind of took a gamble and lost because he didn't realize that a 2-base all-in was coming his way.
Yeah, again, Hydras are really not what you want in that situation. It was almost Miyamika-esque, right? Going for a bit of a Ling Hydra timing, just kind of taking for granted the fact that his opponent was, in his mind, hopefully going for a third CC, because honestly, in this matchup, 2-base all-ins aren't very common. They're not a very common thing. We see
Wait,
them...
are they not?
Not like this.
That's what I've been doing every single TVZ.
God damn it, Yaku. God damn it.
I guess that says more about me, though.
Shaking my head, but yeah, as a result, he wasn't really expecting this hyper aggression to come out from a KingSlayeR, and by the time he did realize what was going on, as you saw, he was investing in Hydra upgrades, he didn't have Baneling speed on the way. It was an almost impossible task to try to defend against that build that is designed to punish kind of what Yoger was doing. So very well done by KingSlayeR. Again, very aggressive styles all around in every single game, and KingSlayeR moves on to a qualifying match.
Yeah.